Welcome back to Inside the Trailer, episode 2. Connor and I had a fantastic episode 1 where we talked about basically all news coverage from around the NHL, the NFL, and the NBA. In this episode, we got a lot of new fun segments, and if you guys aren't aware, Inside the Trailer is a podcast where we talk about just all types of sports coverage. We do parlays, we do games, and obviously we have social media, so we do sports clips from our podcast, but we basically do everything sports. So, we like to have fun around here, so stick around and we'll get into our segments now, honestly. So,
let's start it off. So, our first segment, I want to talk about a recap from our fantasy face-off from last week, where we picked different fantasy players to match up and see who would have the better team. So, let's start off with that. I want to go over, we'll start with your team real quick.
Yeah, let's go over who we had first and then the points.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Drew's team picked Kenneth Walker, George Kittle, Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson. That team combined put up 52.98. Kenneth Walker had 13.9. He had an alright game. Kittle did not end up actually playing. He actually got an injury.
Stupid.
I know. He ended up having the injury and wasn't able to play, so that was a big toll on Drew's points. Josh Allen had himself a good week, 24.98, So he had himself a good week against the Kansas City Chiefs. Justin Jefferson had himself an alright game, fantasy-wise, you would say. He hit up 14.10. So again,
right.
Drew had a combined score of 52.98. But this week, I took the cake, and I ended up beating Drew 58.08. So it was a tight game.
Yeah.
I had Jamar Chase. That was my first pick. He put up 26.5. He put out another really good game.
Always does.
Alvin Kamara had himself a quiet, I wouldn't say quiet. He had himself an alright game for his standards with 12.9. Lamar Jackson had himself an okay game, fantasy-wise, 15.88. And Travis Kelce, I was very surprised, had himself a very quiet game. I said that he was going to be breaking out and playing really well against the Bills, but no, he didn't. He had only 2.8. So again, it was really close, but I ended up taking the win this week for that. But it was close. It was close.
Yeah, and just to summarize a little bit more, when we do these segments like this at the end of the episodes, for example, this one was we both chose in a snake draft order a running back, wide receiver, quarterback, and tight end. So that's where we get the players from. But yeah, Connor had the better draft this week. We have a new segment at the end of this episode, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
But we'll get back to this in the future. I kind of like this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was fun being able to draft our own teams. It was
Agreed.
Fun. It was
Yeah. Cool. So with fantasy face-off out of the way, let's get into our first segment. And this was a new one, and I'm interested to know what you have for reactions when it comes to, this segment. But this is what I like to call r/Dynasty Fantasy Football Trade Advice. So if you guys aren't aware, there's this this Reddit page where people can just send in their sleeper app, trade advice or ideas or just stuff around their leagues that they have questions about. That's kind of the whole point of Reddit. Why I like it so much is you'll every now and then you'll see this ridiculous trade that you wouldn't see in your own
there's
league.
Some bad ones, absolutely.
Yeah, but you see it in the Reddit page, and it's just why don't we have these people in our league?
I know
that are so stupid, and I don't know. But what I'm thinking is I'm gonna go over some of the most recent, trades that went through, comments, things that people have said, and just get your reactions. Because this is all raw. This is, genuine stuff right here.
I haven't seen any of this stuff yet, so this is going to be all raw reactions from me.
Yeah, and honestly, it's going to be kind of genuine for me too, because I've only looked at it from yesterday, so I haven't really seen other stuff.
Yeah.
Other tweets, or whatever you want to call it. What do you call Reddit posts?
Reddit post? Yeah.
Posts.
Reddit posts.
Anyway, we're going to get into it with this first one. I think it's fair. We'll see what you think.
Yeah,
we'll kind of start off pretty fair, and then we'll get into some crazy stuff as we look through the Reddit page. This Reddit user says, "Is this collusion? Sorry, in the collusion category. We'll say team 1 gets Puka Nacua.
Yep.
A 2026 second round pick and another 2026 second round pick. Okay. The other, we'll say team 2 gets CeeDee Lamb, Tank Bigsby, and a 2025 third. Okay, and that's it. So what's weird about this one is the fact that it's a 10 person league, and 7 people vetoed it.
Really?
So, I mean, I think it's fair, but, like, what do you think about that trade? Because, I don't know. I think it's silly.
No, I agree with you. On paper, it looks fair. Obviously, with different leagues, it could be different based on, who's a championship material team,
right?
Who's a bottom tier team. You know what I mean? Like wants and needs for each team.
And where the picks place.
Exactly, where the picks place. So you never know. But again, if you're going to look at it on paper, just like how it is without knowing any background information, I actually don't think it's that bad of a trade.
That's what I'm thinking.
Puka's a really good receiver still, and the other guy's getting 2 seconds. You give up CeeDee Lamb. The other guy gets team 1 would get Tanks Bigsby, which could be running back depth, and then you still get a third. I don't think it's that terrible of a trade. Again, you need to know the background maybe a little bit, but on paper, I don't think it's that bad, and I don't agree with 7 people vetoing that. I don't think that's a vetoable trade. I feel like it's not collusion. I don't see how there would be any type of collusion. Even it doesn't even matter the circumstances. I just don't see how that's collusion.
Right. So it's funny too, because in like the bio or the description, whatever you want to call it, he goes and describes how several people in this league vetoed to trades like this, either for 1, veto just to veto because it's funny, which I don't agree in.
No.
2, veto because they want the player themselves, which
that's ridiculous.
Also ridiculous. Or 3, veto because they don't want a certain team to get a player, and I can understand that, but vetoing is just like unfair.
I feel like that itself is more collusion than the trade.
Trade.
I don't think the trade is collusion at all. I don't think the trade is vetoable. I think if you want to like trade for that player and you don't want someone else to go him, go do it yourself, man. Don't go veto it. Just like
just shows
just
that
to
you're
be
like
annoying.
salty or
exactly,
petty.
Exactly. I think that's bad fantasy. I think the only time that you could really veto a trade is if it's genuine collusion, if it's genuinely really bad, if it's going to negatively affect the league that bad, then I believe that it deserves to get vetoed. But I don't think we should be vetoing this trade necessarily.
Agreed. Yeah. All right, let's move on to another one. This next one, this Reddit user says, "Is this insane?" And here's the trade. Team 1 just gets straight up Justin Jefferson. Okay, big wide receiver, great dynasty player, probably one of the best. Team 2. Adam Thielen, Will Dissly, and Isaiah Pacheco. So you get a good running back, and I think anyone would be more than happy to get Isaiah Pacheco, but you're giving up Justin Jefferson.
This is a trade I feel like could be vetoed. I think I would probably vote to veto it. This is terrible. Justin Jefferson is an incredible fantasy talent. He's an incredible real life talent, but fantasy wise, he's incredible. He's one of the top receivers in fantasy league. He's going to be really good for a long time. You're trading for Adam Thielen, who is probably going to be retiring within the next year or two. Will Dissly,
he has no value.
He has no value. He's a middle of the pack tight end who's at best maybe get you 6 points, 7 points a week. Isaiah Pacheco, he's really good when he's healthy. This season he hasn't been healthy. He's going to come back relatively soon, so again there could be value, but it's not anywhere comparable to being even to what Justin Jefferson is at all. I think if you traded a running back that's maybe a tier above Pacheco, maybe a tier or 2, depends on the running back. I can't think of a specific one at the top of my head. I would throw in that trade to make it even.
Right.
But again, I think that's a terrible trade. I would veto that if that was happening in my league.
Yeah, and to give this user, a little bit, or to give you guys a little bit more context, in the description they say player 2 is eliminated from playoff contention. So they're getting rid of Justin Jefferson.
Oh, yeah, that's 1,000% collusion.
Collusion.
Yeah.
That's just straight up collusion.
Yeah.
No need to talk about that further.
If you're already limited at that point and you're giving up Justin Jefferson for a bag of Cheetos, some lint,
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? No, that's clearly collusion. That clearly needs to be vetoed. So, no, I'm going to say that's not a good trade. That's terrible.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's get into another one, and I had just seen this one. Because, these get, flooded with stuff every few minutes. So it kind of, gets overwhelmed with stuff that's just stupid. Let's see what you think about this one. This Team 1 gets Ricky Pearsall and a 2025 first-round pick.
Okay.
It's a fringe playoff team, so middle of the pack. It's 14 team.
14 teams,
14, okay?
Yep.
And I don't know too much about 14 teams because that's a little bit much for our standards, but in return for Team 2, they get Derrick Henry in a 2025 third. So weigh your options here. It's a 14 team.
I don't think that's terrible.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What was team 2 again in
Team
terms
2
of
gets,
standings? Did it say?
It doesn't say.
It just says team 1 is the middle of the pack.
Yep.
I mean, I guess it depends. I guess knowing where team 2 is in standing wise could help, but I don't think that's that terrible. I think getting Derrick Henry, no matter what, is going to be a win. Mm-hmm. So, like, sure, you give up a first round pick and you give up Ricky Pearsall to get Derrick Henry in a third. I think you win that trade if you're giving up Derrick Henry.
So you think the Derrick Henry side?
I think they win. I would definitely wouldn't veto that. I think it's a good trade. It's not terrible. But again, here's the thing with Derrick Henry, though, that you have to take into account is Derrick Henry's getting up there in age. He's on an offense that might not need him every week because you have Lamar running the ball. You've got incredible receivers that can make plays. You've got Mark Andrews. You've got Rashad Bateman. You've got Zay Flowers. You've got guys that can make plays, and you don't necessarily need Derrick Henry all the time. You know what I mean? You don't have to rely on him.
Right.
So there could be games where, he doesn't get, fed as much. But again, it's Derrick Henry, though. He can go off any game. He can go off any game.
Agreed.
So giving up a first-round pick for Derrick Henry, I think is pretty good. Giving up Ricky Pearsall.
I think this user gets the first in Ricky Pearsall, though. I think that's the thing. I don't think they get Derrick Henry.
If you're a bottom tier team, in this case, I'm gonna maybe guess that they're kind of a bottom tier team.
They said they're a fringe playoff team, so they're
the one that's getting Henry or the one that's
getting Ricky Pearsall and a first is a fringe playoff team. So the way I look at it is they're not sure if they're going to make playoffs yet.
They're just getting the value.
They're getting the value in the first and Pearsall for Derrick Henry before he's gone.
I think you could potentially get more value for Derrick Henry out of that. Yeah. Pearsall, he's been all right so far his rookie campaign. He hasn't been anything insane, but obviously he's on a good offense with other great talent around him. The first round pick, though, I think is good for Derrick Henry.
Yep.
I think maybe if it was a little better of a proven receiver, but then again, that's the thing with rookies, though, is you don't necessarily know what their future is going to be, and Pearsall could be really good. Debo could get hurt, and I mean, it has happened. You know what I mean? Debo, Ayuk gets hurt, Juwan Jennings get hurt. Someone gets, you know what I mean? Someone goes down and Pearsall steps up in the role, or say someone leaves next offseason and Pearsall plays into a bigger role in the offense.
Yep.
You never know how Pearsall's future is going to pan out because he was an incredible talent coming out of college. So I don't think that's that terrible of a trade. I definitely wouldn't veto it, but I think whoever's getting Derrick Henry out of that trade, I think they win that.
I agree.
That's just my take on it.
Right, yeah, and that makes sense. We'll do a couple more here. This one's not a trade. This one's purely a player discussion post. The title is Sell High on Bowers or Keep. So I'm interested to know what you think. I'll read the description that they have before you make a comment.
Okay.
He says that Bowers has been insane since freshman year at Georgia. We know this.
Yep.
I just feel like tight end production is so unpredictable each year. Tight ends like Pitts, Laporta, Andrews have all had highs, but have not had the same consistent production.
Yep.
Would you sell Bowers straight up for a top wide receiver like Amon-Ra, Neighbors, Nico? Obviously, I would take JJ, Chase, CD in a heartbeat, but I don't know what to do.
He makes a point, definitely. I definitely see that point. I think Bowers is an incredible talent, so you can't put that past him. He's going to be good. He might, again, like you said, though, with the consistency, though, being on an inconsistent team like the Raiders could, ruin his chances. But then again, he's getting all the targets because he's on an inconsistent team, and they don't have great talent around him. Mm-hmm. But I think, like he mentioned, guys like Laporta, especially Laporta this season. Laporta in his rookie campaign last year was incredible. This season he's been kind of quiet for what we expected, which is, again, like the inconsistencies. But when you go to like receivers, they tend not to be as inconsistent as the tight ends are. They tend to get more targets on average per game than I feel like a tight end does, because I feel like the tight ends kind of vary. Like it could be a very run heavy game and the tight ends are going to be blocking, but selling Bowers, though, for a top receiver, I think is not a bad idea. I definitely agree with that. I think getting someone who might be more consistent could definitely be a good idea. But Bowers can go off any game, though, so that's the problem. Yeah. Is like you said, I'll give you an example with Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors can be really good consistently going forward. Well, with Daniel Jones, I don't know. But we'll find out. But
is it going to be Daniel Jones, though?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's not this week. He got benched. Yeah. But that's a whole nother discussion there. But again, someone who could be a little more consistent, maybe not as much as like a Boom, you know what I mean, versus Bowers, because I think Bowers can boom and go crazy any week. He put up 33 this week, but you want someone who's going to be more consistent. You know what I mean? You don't want the boom or the bust every week. And again, like he said with the tight ends, that can be inconsistent, especially it happened in the start of the season. It's slowly picked up. The beginning of the season, it was very, very inconsistent play from tight ends. It was really bad. It's gotten better since then. There's some tight ends that have been playing really well, but there's some tight ends that also haven't been playing well, like Sam Laporta, to go back to him. So I think it is a good idea to go maybe sell high on Brock Bowers to go forward with the future and get a more consistent receiver. That way you can build your team maybe a little more, because I think you can sell Brock pretty high there. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I guess the way I look at it is that tight end is such a weird position. Wide receiver is very important to have. Like, you need a good wide receiver if you're going to win a championship.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
Yep.
But I think you can get away with having a mid tight end or grabbing one at the beginning of the season, like grabbing a good tight end at the beginning of the season, because they're always going to be there.
Yeah.
You know, Brock Bowers is obviously a different story here, and maybe I'm being a little emotional because I have Brock Bowers in our Dynasty League, but, like, Brock Bowers feels just different. He just feels like he could be the best, like he could be another Kelsey long term. And also the fact that he's playing with, Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell.
Yep.
These are bad quarterbacks who are not, they're just bad. They're just bad, right?
Yeah.
So, and we talked about in our last episode that the Raiders might draft Shador.
Yep.
So I see Bowers potentially even being better than he is right now.
Yeah.
So, and he's a rookie. He's young. He has this huge longevity. I think you wouldn't be wrong for trading Bowers for a top wide receiver, but you also might be missing out on some really, like, valuable long-term tight end points, if that makes sense.
No, right. I see.
You know what I mean? So you wouldn't be wrong going either way, but I would definitely say that if you're going to trade Bowers, it should be a top wide receiver minimum.
Real quick.
Minimum.
Like, obviously, you would take Justin Jefferson, like you said. You would take CD. You would take Jamar. Would you take Amon-Ra if it was offered and get rid of Bowers?
Yeah, I think I would. I think that's kind of where the line is, though. You know what I mean?
Go anywhere under? Would you do Neighbors? Just because I'm just thinking of names that were just listed off. Would you do Neighbors?
Now, I don't know if I would.
No.
He hasn't proven himself enough yet, even though he's young. Why would you make that trade in the first place?
Right.
You're trading young tight end for young wide receiver. I just, like, if you were really lacking in wide receiver, go ahead.
Yeah.
And if you had a backup tight end or something like that. I don't get the point. You don't of doing that at all. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So unless you're going to get an established, like, dynasty wide receiver that's going to help you for a really long time that isn't a rookie,
right?
I would do that trade.
Okay.
I mean, do you feel kind of the
No, I kind of feel similar. Yeah.
That's just the way I look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we won't stay on that too much longer. We got one more, and then we'll move on to our next segment.
Yeah.
This is another discussion post question. This person says, told my friend that I would give him a chance to match any trade offers I got for a player.
Okay.
So just keep one at the top of your mind. Doesn't really matter who it is. After negotiating with someone and getting them to offer a first-round pick, that friend that he told before now says that he will match that trade and also offer a first. Now he's asking, how do I go back to Team B, the team that said in the first place they would offer a first, and basically say that, I'm sorry, I told this other guy that he could match and he matched, and now I don't want to trade with you. Is there a way to go across it, or are you just straight up, is it harsh in the fantasy football world?
I mean, it is harsh, definitely, but I think you just go back and say, hey, someone matched your offer. Like, I've been talking with other people, someone matched your offer. Would you match that, or are you going to stick just with that? But, I mean, again, I mean, I guess that probably, it happens in real sports, too, where people, they go and say, like, oh, go see what you can get for value, and then if something, someone raises the stakes, we'll come back and see if we, if you want to match it. But if it doesn't, then we'll move on.
Yeah.
But again, I think you just go back to the dude and say, hey, someone, topped your offer. What do you got that you want to top that, or you done?
Right.
But
That's
I think that's good. Like to keep going back and forth. Like if you're the manager that's looking to trade and getting offers from other people, I think like you're in a really good spot where people want to come to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess just trying to see as much value as you can get. Because if it's someone that they really want, then you can just keep being greedy and just saying, hey, like they offered this, like you want to top it and offer me more. Right. Trying to just see whatever you can get.
Yeah, and I agree. I think at the end of the day, though, like it's also important to keep in mind a little bit of trade etiquette. If it's the exact same pick, I think it's a little bit rude to do it to the player that first said they would do it first, because then, like, this comment right here says, if I negotiated a deal and then they backed out of it to get the exact same deal with someone else, I'd probably never entertain offers from that person again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, if you're taking the offer and it's literally the same exact thing, okay, like,
it's like,
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, just why back out just to take the same offer from someone else? Like, I think that's bad trade etiquette, but
yep.
I mean, unless they're going to, like, make a better offer, then I don't, like, think you should just do it exactly.
I think it's as simple as that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, all right, yeah, I mean, I love this Reddit page. I'm sure we'll definitely come back to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to start saving some more, like, ridiculous ones because, just scrolling through it for the last however long we've been doing this segment for, there wasn't some crazy ones. We did see that crazy Justin Jefferson one.
Yeah.
But
I think that's the only one that I thought was, like, really crazy.
Yeah, it's just entertaining, though, to see what other leagues are like.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we'll come back to this in the future, but for now, we have a little bit more important news coverage to go over, but Connor's going to go over some of the NBA week stuff, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I'd love to dive into the NBA. So we'll start first with Celtics Cavs. So going into this game, we had the undefeated Cavs going up against the defending champion Boston Celtics, in a really good game. The final score ended up being 120-117. Boston Celtics take it. Player of the game, Jason Tatum, of course, put up 33, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 blocks. Wow. He had himself a really good game.
Yep.
He had a couple highlight plays. He crossed up Niang.
I saw that.
That was a crazy. Yeah. Some people were saying that it might have been a push off.
He kind of always does that, but in this instance, it kind of looked like it was just like it didn't even look like he touched him, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I think he just fell. To hit, in the third quarter to top that off. Yeah, that was a really nice shot for the three to go up a little more. Horford had a season high with 20, had himself a good game, 7 boards. Derek White did his thing, 19 points. Jaylen Brown, 17. Peyton Pritchard off the bench at 13. They put up a really good game. Hard fought to the end. Donovan Mitchell, they were down, I believe it was like 7 at this point, going into like the last 30-something seconds. Donovan Mitchell hits a crazy 3-pointer to make it a little closer.
He had a good game.
He did. Donovan Mitchell had a really good game. He ended up putting up 35, 8. He had himself a good game. He ended up leaving a little toward the end, though, after a pretty hard bump with Tatum.
Damn.
Off the screen, Tatum came flying into him. I think it was just an accident.
Okay.
It was just an accident, but Donovan took, a heavy hit out of it. So I guess we'll see how that if injury goes for him going forward. If it's just if he just brushes it off, maybe he just lost his breath or whatever. But yeah, he'll be all right. Evan Mobley had a good game too. He had 22 and 11, but the Celtics again came through and pulled it forward, and they're gonna start closing up the gap in the standings now.
Right.
So it's gonna be interesting to see if the Celtics can start piling it together, a big win streak, and see how the Cavs move after this win going forward.
The loss, you mean?
Yeah,
the
Celtics going forward. But let's see how the Cavs going forward too after this loss. Do they continue going on a nice win streak after this, or do they kind of get back to earth and kind of keep playing how we expected them? Not that we had good expectations for them, but I don't think anyone thought that you were going to go 15-0, almost making history.
No.
But
I definitely didn't.
No, absolutely not. But I guess that's something to monitor, see how the Cavs do after this, and if it's something the Celtics are eventually just going to pull away in the East, or if the Cavs are going to give the Celtics a run for their money in the standings. We'll see how that goes. But I want to move over into our next next topic.
I just wanted to say one quick thing before we moved on, that I think the difference maker in this game was Darius Garland's play.
Mm-hmm.
That straight up from stats, he went 3 for 21.
Oh yeah, he had a really bad shooting game.
Yeah, and then from 3 he went 0 for 6. So
he did not have himself a good game.
Sometimes that's all it takes to lose a game. especially since it was only a 3-point game. You make 2 of those buckets, the game is
it's a different game.
It's a different game.
It's a different game. It's a different game.
But either way, the defending champs won, and that's basically the story of the night. But yeah, let's move on into our next segment.
Yeah, so the 76ers has definitely been a hot topic going forward. Last week we talked about the 76ers having a slow start, but it's just not getting any better. They're tied for the worst record in the NBA right now. It's not looking good.
Nope.
The 76ers are in trouble right now. News just broke out today that there was tension in the locker room after their loss to the Heat the other night. Kyle Lowry called in a meeting, a players meeting, or a team meeting. I'm sorry, it wasn't just for the players, but he called a team meeting. He wanted people to take accountability. People needed to, spark and get some heart and start playing better. So, the coaches, the players, they had a lot of discussion about, who's going to, taking the blame, who needs to step up, what needs to change. But something that was really noteworthy was Tyrese Maxey stepping up to Embiid, saying that he was late to all the team meetings, team activities, and how it impacts the locker room. Obviously, that's the leader of the team. He's a former 2-time MVP. He is the guy in Philadelphia, and he's the one that needs to set the tone. He's the one that needs to set the pace in the locker room. And if you're showing up late to everything, and maybe it's not always his fault that he doesn't play because he's hurt, or maybe sometimes he needs to push it through, but he's not setting a good tone in Philly. He's not setting a good locker room environment. It sounds like it's a lazy environment to me. They called up Nick Nurse. They said they need to be coached harder. So again, that goes off the laziness. And again, we don't know what goes on inside the locker room. We don't know everything that goes on in the practice. But the players have clearly stated they want to be challenged harder. They want to be pushed to be better because they know they can. And I think that team is really good. I think they can compete. And I think eventually they're going to figure it out and turn it around. But for now, something needs to change. Yeah. I don't know what it is. People need to take accountability in this locker room. To me, I'm not sure if Embiid is taking accountability. I just want to read this quote from this ESPN article about Embiid. Embiid accepted the messages sent in the locker room, sources said, but he stated that he is sometimes confused about what the 76ers are attempting to execute on the court. Now, is this a coaching problem? Is this Nurse not clearly stating
it could be
what he expects out of them? Is this lazy play calling? Again, back to the laziness. Is it just pure laziness that is the reason that they have the slow start? Again, you're an incredible player like Embiid, though, and maybe this isn't trying to be a knock on Embiid, but I'm just confused how a 2-time MVP is confused about what's going on the court when he's the best player and the guy that should have the ball in his hands most of the time. But I don't understand how he's confused what's going on. And again, that might not be on him. That might be on coaching. But I don't know. What do you think about that?
To me, this kind of feels like a clear case of a team that starts bad, right? So this is before being 2-11. This is maybe we'll say were they 2-7 at some point, 1-7.
Yeah, they're on a 4-game losing streak right now. So yeah.
So when they were 2-7, right? Just either way, however you look at it, a team that starts bad and just lets the outside talk and maybe some mixed emotion in the locker room really get to your head and mess with your actual, play ability.
Yeah.
But for Embiid to say he's not sure what's going on, I don't know if that's necessarily an excuse, and I think it feels more like there's just confusion. Why are we such a bad team? Sometimes it's, to explain it, it's just you literally aren't just playing good. You're not in a good state of mind. Some of the chemistry is off. You're barely losing games. I don't know the scores recently, but if they're barely losing games, those can mess with you, right? You let a game where you might have actually played pretty well get to your head, and all of a sudden the team is in a bad groove. Yeah. So I think in this instance, they got the pieces. Jared McCain is playing really, really well.
Jared McCain has been incredible this season.
Yeah.
He's clearly the front runner for Rookie of the Year.
So it's honestly a shame that he's playing this well and Embiid is confused. Maxey's not playing too well. He's playing okay. Paul George was injured, but and he still needs to find his groove, which he will, because he's a solid player.
Going to, yeah.
Right. So, I think it's a mental game. And, it doesn't really help that Embiid being the leader in the room is not, doesn't have a clear idea of what's going on. It's in my opinion, it's strictly a mental thing. Yeah. And they will get out of this. Mark my words. They will not play like this the rest of the season.
No.
It's, when you hear articles like this, people think like, oh, you got to break up the team or something needs to change. I don't think so.
Absolutely. I think they got the pieces.
Like you have the pieces. I think it's strictly just like, give it time. Yeah. Right? Stop listening to the things on the outside and just like play your own game because you have the ability to do so. And that's the way I look at it.
Right. This team has changed a lot. So, again, maybe they're just getting their chemistry. They've got some new guys coming in. Paul George being a huge one. Jared McCain, rookie, taking, a good role in the offense so far, coming off the bench. But, again, like you said with the mental thing, I think people just need to take accountability.
Yep.
That
too.
And I want to go back to the quote that I stated. Embiid, he accepted the messages, but is that necessarily taking accountability?
Yeah.
Is he saying oh, I'm sorry, maybe this is something I need to work on? Or is he just saying okay, I get what you're saying, but, and then whatever excuse it could be. Again, I don't know. We're not there in the locker room. We're not going to ever know exactly what was said. We're not going to see the film. So who knows? I hope from top to bottom, players need to start taking accountability because that's when it starts. That's when the mentality changes, when players, okay, this is my fault. This is how I messed up. This is how I can get better. This is what, as a team, collectively, we need to do to get better, to get to the goal, and to be where we want to be. And I think the 76ers, again, like we've said multiple times, they have the talent to get to that point. They just need to click. And I don't know exactly what they need to do to click, but I think it starts with accountability. And I think once they can take accountability, things are going to start changing, and they're going to start racking up some wins. They just need to get a little healthy too as well. Embiid's kind of been playing hurt. He hasn't been playing great so far when he's been playing, outside of getting suspended and missing the beginning of the season. So maybe he's just getting into a groove, but he's not been shooting well. He's not been playing well. But again, it's only he's only played a couple games. Same with Paul George. He's been hurt. So once all that core gets healthy, and they start playing together well, and they start building the chemistry, I think the chains will turn for them. Yeah, and they'll start racking up some good wins into the Bucks and moving up in the standings in the East.
And we'll see that soon. They just need to get into their groove. It's really that simple.
Right. They'll figure it out. But there's something that they need to monitor. Something needs to change for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. We were talking about Rookie of the Year. I just want to switch real quick to most improved. And I think someone that definitely needs to be discussed is Dyson Daniels. Dyson Daniels has been incredible this season. He has been great for the Hawks. The Hawks have had two really good most improved candidates. They've got Jalen Johnson and they've got Dyson Daniels. But I specifically just want to focus on Dyson Daniels this week because Dyson Daniels last year really didn't have much going on in New Orleans. He was in the DeJounte Murray package, came to the Hawks, not too much big expectations, but here we are. Dyson has been incredible.
Yeah, it seems like it. And we were talking about a little bit, last night when we were looking at some of Dyson Daniels' stats.
Yeah.
He just seems like such a versatile player on the court,
Absolutely.
Recently he's been really known for his steals and his blocks. But this kind of extends beyond the steals and blocks, and he just seems like an all-around player that you would want on your team. Like he really plays his role well.
He does.
And more. So, I mean, what are some of the stats from recently if you were just to go over them? I'm curious to hear them.
He's been good on the season. He's averaging 15 points a game.
Yeah.
He's averaging, let me pull it up. In just his last 10 games, he's been averaging 3.7 steals. He's been averaging 1.1 blocks. I'm pretty sure he leads the league in steals per game as of right now.
That's cool.
But just even going game by game, let's start with his most recent game from yesterday against the Kings.
Okay, yeah.
14, 8, 4. Not bad. But then you go to the defensive side of it, and he's got 4 blocks. He's been incredible. He's had multiple incredible games. A game I want to highlight is the win versus Washington last Friday on the 15th. 129 to 117. He had an incredible game. 25 points on 71% shooting, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 6 steals. Jeez. He's incredible on the offense and incredible on the defense. Even when he's had nights where he's been, somewhat quiet, like again, a night like Charlotte, or sorry, not Charlotte, I'm sorry, Portland, where he didn't, do too much in the offense. He had 12. He still had a really good game. 8 boards, 2 steals and a block. He's doing it all, and he's playing his role really well. So, I don't know. I think he's a guy that we need to monitor on the most improved players. Yeah. As of right now, I think betting odds have him at 3rd. I think most books have him at 3rd.
For most improved?
For most improved.
Who's in front of him?
Jalen Johnson is the leader as of right now,
wow,
and Jalen Williams is another one. But those two guys, I think, obviously they've been stepping up, so this isn't a knock on them at all. But these are guys that, I think have taken bigger roles, especially Jalen Williams. I think with the injuries that have been going down, I think he's obviously stepped up to a bigger role, especially last season he did as well.
Yeah.
But I think a name like Dyson Daniels, where we didn't expect him to be playing this well, is someone that we really need to look at for most improved player. But again, the season's still young, so we'll see how that goes. But what do you think? Do you think he has a shot at winning it?
I mean, yeah. If he continues to play the way he is, it kind of feels like he's playing outer worldly.
Yeah.
Right now, but like these are good stats, and regardless if he doesn't win it, he has improved a ton. He honestly, just like the Hawks are way better with him. And this is a player that I would love to see on my team. Absolutely. Any team would love to have him. Also, what do you think of his name, Dyson Daniels? It just kind of rolls off the tongue.
It does roll off the tongue.
I like it.
I like
Dyson.
that. It is. It's a good name. The Hawks have been not that bad so far, 7-8, but 7-8 right now in the East put you in 5th in the conference. So I think the Hawks. I won't go too deep into the Hawks, but I think the Hawks are starting to build a really good core around Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson. They still got Capella. I think they're starting to make some right pieces. And again, if you've got guys like Dyson Daniels who are going to step up on both sides of the ball and make incredible plays, that Hawks team could be someone we didn't expect to play really well in the East, and they could move up in the standings. But I don't know. It's someone to look forward to the rest of the season is Dyson Daniels. So again, I'm going to be monitoring him and seeing how he's playing. But he's an early front runner for most improved player.
Yep,
definitely. So again, we'll see how that goes. But last topic with NBA news I want to talk about is Royale, my boy Royale from Sacramento. So the other night, Sacramento they played in their throwback city jerseys, and they they dumped a new mascot into a clip where they had him coming out. He's a basketball, I guess. He's a basketball head. He's got the jersey on. He's got a little cap on him, and he came in, with the current to hang out with the current Kings mascot. Yeah, Slamson. But yeah, Royale was a callback to Cincinnati when they were playing there, and in the clip, Slamson ends up putting him in the crate and ships him back to Cincinnati.
Get out of here.
De'Aaron Fox had a funny comment he wanted to make.
Yeah.
He said like it at all. He did not like it at all. The fans were actually booing in the stadium while they played the clip.
That was just disrespectful.
It was a little disrespectful to my guy Royale, but he said, "What the F is that?" No, so very surprised as to what Royale was and what he was doing in Sacramento, and clearly he wanted him to go back to Cincinnati as well. But the Kings have stated that he's going to be coming back for every time that they wear the throwback jerseys this season. So we'll see. Hopefully Royale a couple more times, but
I would love to see him, honestly.
I think he's great. I think him and Slamson, can make a really cool duo together on the court, doing their thing.
The one thing that I would say is dude, just imagine being 5 years old, right? And you look up to the Sacramento Kings, right?
Yep.
And this 7-foot monster with a basketball head and a Thomas the Train-esque face comes up to you, and he's just towering over you. I think then I would be pretty scared.
Yeah, I can understand how that'd be pretty scary. He's got a little the eyebrows raised.
Dude, he's mewing. He's giving you the Riz face right in front of you. I would think that's funny as hell, but if I was 5 years old, I'd probably be crying.
Yeah, I could absolutely see how that would scare someone, but
he's a little scary.
Hey, shout out my boy Royale though.
Yeah, I like him.
We'll see him a couple times this season, so we'll see what kind of funny skits that the Kings go along with that. So
for sure,
that's gonna be something funny to look forward to. But yeah, I think that's what we got for the NBA this week.
Not much news.
Let's switch it over to NHL. I think a big one we want to talk about is the Boston Bruins and their downfall. So
really, it's the only thing I kind of want to talk about right now because it's the biggest thing.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It's the biggest one.
As of, I think it was this morning, but it really wasn't announced until like the middle of the day. Jim Montgomery, head coach of the Boston Bruins, has been fired. This is a rumor that's been circulating for a little bit now. There's a lot of fans who are I would say pro Jim Montgomery, and a lot of fans who are anti Jim Montgomery. We'll get into like the major problems, but I think it definitely goes beyond Jim Montgomery.
Absolutely.
Some people will tell you that this is the scapegoat for Don Sweeney, the general manager of the Boston Bruins, right. Because he's been making mistakes for a really long time, and that move to fire him is long overdue. So is Jim Montgomery gone a good thing for the team? Is it his fault? Does this help just kind of, bring some good luck to the team? Will the team perform better? I don't know. And, it's all speculation as to what will happen. I guess we'll have to see in the next... the rest of the season we'll have to see how it goes. But Joe Sacco takes over as interim coach. He's been with the Bruins organization for 10 years as an assistant coach. So he has... a lot of association with the players, such as Marchand, who is the captain. So he knows these players, and I feel like he's best fit right now to take over. I don't know about long term. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
I know there's some big name players or big name coaches that could be signed, but we'll have to see. What is your take on Jim Montgomery, I guess, or the roster, like whatever direction you want to go with this?
Right. I will go back. Well, let's start with Jim Montgomery.
Sure.
Jim Montgomery, I think you made a good point about Don Sweeney using the scapegoat.
Yep.
I think Jim Montgomery, unfortunately, was the scapegoat, but that doesn't mean to say that it was overdue in time for a switch. Montgomery, on paper, why would you fire him? I have the record pulled up right here. 120 win, 41 losses, 23 overtime losses. But you are the best. Let's go back 2 years ago. Bruins go and they have the best season of all time, most wins of all time, and you blow it in the first round. What happened? Okay, you know what? Fluke, maybe what happens. We go into the next season, Bruins again have a great season, get bumped in the playoffs.
Second round
to
the same team.
To the same team this time. And again, that was the team that ended up winning the cup. But
yep.
Something's got to change. We can't have great regular season success and have no playoff success. And with Montgomery, there's great regular season success. There's zero playoff success. We have one first round win in 2 years with teams that had really high expectations. So something needs to change, and especially after the slow start that the Bruins have, where they have a losing record right now, something needed to change. Unfortunately, with Jim, I think he lost the locker room. I saw a clip the other night where him and Marchand were getting into it on the bench, arguing. And again, there's passion, but I think Montgomery just lost the locker room. Unfortunately, and I think he had a rough start going into it because I think he got put into a kind of a tricky situation within the locker room where they got rid of Cassidy, where the players loved Cassidy. Well, some players might not have, but because Cassidy was hard to coach. But that's what's needed. You need a coach.
Right.
It's going to be hard. I don't know if Montgomery was necessarily that coach to this team. So, players might have had their, biases because, Bruce Cassidy was kicked out. Jim Montgomery comes in, different style of, coaching. But, again, I don't know. I think after time, the players they just gave up. I think he lost the locker room, unfortunately. And I think that's something that needs to change within that locker room if they're going to pull away is the leadership. And I think Marchand's a great leader in that locker room, but I think something needs to change. And I think a coaching change could be really good. You bring in Joe Sacco, who has been on that team for 10 years as an assistant coach in different roles. He knows the players. Again, you brought up Marchand. He knows Pasternak. He's been with Pasternak since the beginning. He knows all the guys that have come up into the system. He's been there. He's worked with them. If he's been there for 10 years, he's doing something right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it was a really good idea. Obviously, he was going to be the interim head coach, but I think going forward for the rest of the season, don't worry about going to get someone. Don't change it up. Keep the guy who's been there for so long, knows the team, knows what needs to happen. Don't bring in someone new because it's just only going to get worse. Keep Sacco. From what I know, the players I assume like Sacco. again, we'll see how that goes.
Right.
I hope they can turn it around and change it. I hope Sacco can bring in a new culture within that locker room that really wants to come together and play really hard, tough hitting hockey, because that's what this team needs right now.
Agreed.
They absolutely need that.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with most of the things you said. And I know you mentioned something about there needs to be leadership in the locker room. Montgomery maybe wasn't that guy, and I didn't know if you were kind of alluding to, is Marchand that guy? But I'll touch on that a little bit. I was lying on my couch the other day, right after the Blue Jackets lost 5-1, or sorry, right after the Bruins lost to the Blue Jackets 5-1. I sat there and I said, one thing that I really want to see is the leadership and accountability from Jim Montgomery, as well as Brad Marchand, because Nesson always does interviews with them right after.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see what the response was. You can tell a lot just by like facial expression and also just like what they're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Montgomery had this very like lackadaisical we played okay. I mean, it wasn't really where we wanted it to be in the offensive zone.
Yeah. Obviously.
we didn't have great defensive play tonight, but we'll have to bounce back next game. And to me, that just feels lazy. Like, it doesn't feel like
Absolutely.
like, if I'm a coach who's, that you're on the edge of being fired, in my opinion, that, like, where is your spirit? Like, I would want to be like, this isn't what we want to be right now. Like we can be better. We will be better. Like, I want a very direct answer as to how you're going to fix it. It's PR, media. Obviously, you don't want to give too much up.
Right.
But it just didn't seem like there was spirit. And maybe he didn't know that, or maybe he just thought he was going to get fired. It could be that easy.
Yeah, maybe he just gave up too. They gave up on him and he gave
possible.
up on them. I don't know.
But when I saw Marchand's interview, he gave that direct answer, like, we can be better. I didn't play good tonight. The team will be better. Those kinds of answers, just, they tell me that he is at least a leader, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he can control this locker room in a way where the team will be better. And I don't really think there's anyone else like him in the locker room that can be a leader. McAvoy maybe.
Yeah.
You
make a good point. Like, there's
no
a
one
lot
else.
of young guys there. There's a lot of young guys who are still learning. I think Marchand is clearly the oldest one there. I think Marchand he's been there. He's a cup champion with this team. He's been there from the ups and he's been there through the downs. And right now is a down, but right now this is a time where he can really prove that he's a great locker room leader, which I know he is. He is very vocal on the ice. He's very vocal off the ice. He's a guy that you want in your locker room.
Right.
And he needs to, I think getting rid of Montgomery is great. I think Marchand, like, again, I'll go back to with the clip. I think he was very passionate, and I think him and Montgomery got into it. And I think, Marchand knows his team can be better. Montgomery, like you said in the interview, hasn't shown that passion. So, again, if you're not going to give that passion and you're not going to be, I would rather, sorry to pause my thought. I would rather Jim Montgomery be a hard ass and be demanding, and the players don't, want that. I would much rather have that with a coach and with that much passion and spirit to be leading that team than a coach is just like, you know what? We played okay. We didn't play great. We could be better. No, absolutely not. I want a coach who's going to say, we need to take accountability. We need to do better. I need to do better. We need someone who's going to go into that locker room and take accountability and be able to lead that team. But again, Jim Montgomery wasn't doing that. Marchand, I think, is going to take a big step up and really pull this locker room together.
Yep.
And I think Sacco being there is going to be a guy who they can get behind. So we'll see how that goes with him. But
yeah, and I definitely don't see this team getting worse than it is now, because this might be the worst Bruins team I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
So, you fired him at the right time. You fired him at your lowest. And, you can only go up from here.
Right.
But, like, that also means that the players will have to be better.
Right.
There's like a handful of players who are playing up to their skill, and it's not the players you want it being.
Right.
The fourth line in Beecher, Kastelik, and Kepke, they started the season really well. They were like 50% of the goals accounted for.
Yeah, they were an incredible start.
They've kind of fallen back down to earth a little bit, and they're playing like fourth liners, but they're also giving like a ton of effort.
Right.
And they're on the ice for good plays. And things are working with them. Some of the top lines are not. Elias Lindholm, he's actually been okay. But, you signed him for this huge contract of $7+ million. You want him to be, one of the top players. He's with Pasternak, or was with Pasternak. He's now with Marchand on the second line because he got demoted.
Right.
But you were with Pasternak, and that's another story about Pasternak. But you with this elite goal scorer. You're known for playmaking, and on the left you either had Brad Marchand or someone would slide up like Geeky, which can be it's not the greatest wing up top.
Yeah.
But you have to shuffle these players, and Montgomery was doing that because no one is stepping up into the role that they should be.
No.
And points they're not happening. Pasternak leads the team in goals, but he's also everywhere else on the ice. What is he doing? And I ask that to myself a lot because the giveaways are a problem.
We've had this talk too while we watch games.
Right?
It's the giveaways. It's again Pasternak's an incredible player, so this isn't a knock on him. But Pasternak does a lot of things where he tries to get pretty. He does a lot of moves where if he gets it, it's gonna be a highlight reel, and you're gonna see it on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a really slim chance that actually happened. And the turnovers are a problem with Pasternak. The points, the goals might look flashy at points on the stat sheet,
right?
But it's just the effort sometimes too. Like you said, sometimes I just feel like he puts half effort into getting back on defense, just making plays, being there. I don't know if that's something that he needs to take accountability for and go out and prove that I need to move harder, I need to make smarter decisions, I need to tone down the turnovers and put more effort into getting back and whatnot. But I think he's a guy that needs to someone take some accountability on that aspect. But,
right. You're seen as a top 10 player in the NHL.
Right.
You need to play like it.
Right.
You're not gonna win games by just being a one-trick pony and just scoring these slappers on the power play, which isn't even happening.
Right.
So, that's got to get stepped up. The defense has got to get stepped up too.
Yeah.
They're
not doing the goalies any help.
No one.
We'll get into the goalies, but they're not helping doing the goalies any help here.
I'd love to be this guy was playing really good defense. No one is. I thought Hampus Lindholm was playing pretty great defense before he got injured a couple games ago.
Yeah.
Carlo is solid, but he still makes these stupid mistakes where he gets, distracted and then starts to draw more towards the boards and then leaves the center of the ice open. Lowry, he makes stupid mistakes in the offensive zone that lead to, 2-on-1s and 2-on-0s that shouldn't happen.
Right.
McAvoy, you're a top 5 defenseman. And I'm not saying that he's playing bad, but is he playing a top 5?
He's playing a top 5 defenseman.
Yeah, and then Zadorov is another story. I don't I don't even know what to think of it. Why did you sign him for $5 million just to be a lunk on the ice? He literally is a liability.
Right.
I don't like him on the team, and that sucks to say. Andrew Peeke I like. Parker Wotherspoon I like because they don't have a ton of responsibility,
right?
And they're playing solid. So
right.
And then there's Osterley who just got called up just because you literally need him.
Right.
He's not playing great either. He makes mistakes. All this combined does not help Korpisalo or Swayman.
No, not at all. It makes them look worse than they already kind of are so far.
Yeah. Do you want to go into some of the stats on Swayman and Korpisalo? Because personally, we were talking about it. I think we believe that Korpisalo is playing better than Swayman right now.
Right. As of right now, I think so. He's played half the games, but he's almost got the same amount of wins. Swayman, I'll go through the stats real quick. Swayman's in 14 games is 5-7-2 with an average of 3.47 a game. You're supposed to be, a top goalie in the league. You're supposed to be one of the top rising goalies in the league. And you're putting up numbers like this versus Korpisalo, 7 games, 3 wins, 2 losses, 1 overtime loss, where he has the winning record right there. But he's only got 2.74, which isn't.
It's a whole goal less.
It's a whole goal less. And the save percentages too is Swayman 88.4, Korpisalo 90.1. That's a big step right there too. I don't know. Again, maybe Swayman he's getting the better team, so maybe he's getting the harder challenges, and the defense isn't doing him any favors. So again, it could look bad, but for a guy who was supposed to be stepping up into an incredible role after losing Omar, he was going to be a guy who was going to get most of the games, as we're seeing so far. He's got double the amount of games as Corpusala. We're not getting the splits anymore that we were getting with Omar. So we needed to go and prove why he was worth the contract that he was given. He demanded the contract. He was holding out until the beginning of the season, and he ended up getting the contract. They ended up signing him to a nice deal, and right now he's not playing to the worth of that deal. But again, the season's still young. A lot of changes have come through the team, so we'll see if how their play is going to change. But as of right now, it's not good. It's not up to what Jeremy Swayman's standards are.
Right. People need to step up. It's as simple as that. I'd love to give excuses to people, but right now the team is bad. People need to step up. Hopefully Joe Sacco can, wrangle some of these players in and make them a better team. But we'll see. I mean, they're 32nd. Like, when it comes to power plays, they're the worst in the league. And there's rumors of, needing to add top 6 forwards, which I wouldn't be opposed to. I heard rumors about Utah and the Ducks. And out of the Ducks, I heard Trevor Zegras. I think that would be a bad move because I think he's just kind of flashy. He's kind of like a certified Pasternak without the actual, intense goal-scoring ability.
Yeah, right.
So, is he something that...
He can make highlight plays, but... that's not going to always win you games.
Right. He's not going to make your team better, to be honest. So, I mean...
And the way that it is right now.
Right, yeah. So, hopefully the team, I'd love to see the team be better.
Right.
Hopefully they do make a trade for a top forward. I don't know how they're going to do that. People are going to leave this team. You will see some trades. I don't know if soon, but definitely by the trade deadline for sure.
Something has to change.
The team will mix up at least a little bit. But, something's got to change.
Something's got to change. And I want to just talk about the top of the Bruins real quick. Don Sweeney, Cam Neely. What are we doing? What are we doing? Don, what are we doing? Neely,
it disappoints me.
It's so frustrating sometimes with this front office.
Yeah.
It's really bad. Again, I want to go back to the point that we made in the beginning of when we started talking about the Bruins. They love using the scapegoats. Bruce Cassidy was the scapegoat. Bruce Cassidy should not have been the scapegoat because you know what he went and did? He went and won the Stanley Cup with the team that signed him. He ended up going and winning it with Vegas. And you know what he probably did to Don and Cam? He probably called them and told them off.
He did. I'm pretty sure. Well, I don't know about he doing that, but he did I forget what it was. He did something disrespectful to the Bruins, but rightfully so.
Absolutely rightfully so.
I forget what it was. He kind of he boasted the Stanley Cup or something like that.
Good.
I don't remember what it was.
Good.
There's something.
I hope Cam saw it.
Yeah.
I hope they saw it, and I hope, they were like, oh, damn, we messed up. Maybe we should change our ways and not use someone as a scapegoat. But, what are we doing now? We're going to go, you fired Jim Montgomery. And again, maybe firing Jim was the right idea. But I think they're also they're trying to use him as a scapegoat.
For sure.
I don't know. I really just hope that they come out and say that Jim wasn't necessarily the problem. I mean, they're not going to say that for PR reasons, but they need to come out and say this team needs to take accountability. Players need to step up, lead the locker room to better success. It's all around. It wasn't just Montgomery, but I think Montgomery was also used as the scapegoat to make things look worse as his fault. When I think a lot of it is the front office, but
that's how it is.
I don't know.
It's a cruel business.
I don't know. It is. It really is. But I don't know. Something's got to change with that front office, and that's a maybe another discussion for
other than
day.
Monty.
What'd you say?
Other than Monty.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see.
I don't know. Something's got to change with that front office. Whether it's the attitude or if it's the people. We need a different front office. I don't know. Something has to change with the front office because it has not been good. We have had no cup success since 2011. We've made the cup twice since then, and
only won it. Well, no, we didn't even win it. We didn't even win it.
Yeah, we lost to Chicago.
Was the last,
and then we lost to the Blues in 2019, and that's the last time we've seen the cup.
It's a tough world, honestly. We were spoiled with good teams every year, but if you're not winning, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, again, like as we said, we're Bruins fans, so maybe we're just spoiled, and it's like, oh, we didn't go to the Cup for 5 years, or we didn't go to the, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm just being spoiled, but when you've had teams every year that have high expectations and are consistently good, it's disappointing. It's disappointing when, we end up in this kind of situation, but I don't know.
Yep. Let's move on to a topic that's a little bit more fun, a little bit more exciting.
I want to calm down a little bit.
We were getting a little bit in our feels.
From here.
We are going into our next section called Gas or Ass. Welcome to it. It's a new section where we will be going over, NFL celebrations and rating them gas or ass. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
We got 6 of them for you guys. We will be playing the clips simultaneously as we watch them on screen for you guys too. But let's go into our first one. Joe Mixon, who had 3 touchdowns yesterday, his second one, and we'll see what we think. Are you watching it right now?
I have it pulled up. Yep.
Pretty silky move to get in the end zone.
Yeah.
What do you think of this?
I like what he did getting into the into the end zone. You know
Not so much that, but what about the celebration?
It's alright.
Like I'm watching it on repeat right now because
it's alright. It's not bad. I think there's better celebrations. It's not terrible. I've definitely seen worse.
It's like
it's alright.
What are they doing though? Like are they just doing like the shopping cart around each other?
I don't know.
Like I'm a little confused. Like
it's
Joe Mixon's getting his groove. He's doing a circle.
He throws the ball down. It's spinning. He's kind of going in a circle. Throwing his arms around a little bit. It's not bad. But
okay, is it corny?
I don't know.
Is it corny?
I don't know.
It's definitely not. It's not gas, but it's not ass.
But if we have to pick one, what would you pick? It is gas or ass. It's not gas, maybe, and ass. It's gas or ass.
I'm gonna go ass.
I'm gonna go ass as well. It's not that bad. I've definitely seen worse, but I'm gonna rate this one ass. This one I wouldn't say is gas. It definitely did not,
Yep.
make me hype.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. Next up, we got Jamar Chase. This one's interesting. So let's look at this one.
Yeah. He gets the towel out.
He gets the towel out of his pocket.
Yep.
It was smooth. Everything about that celebration was smooth. Even the wipe had like tension on it as he went up.
Yeah.
Like he didn't just go. Maybe I'm overreacting to a simple wipe of the ball's ass. This isn't ass though. This is good.
Yeah.
This is gas.
I agree. He was wiping the ass, but I'm gonna give this one a gas. This was a really cool celebration, and I think it's gonna. Look, he could be one of the best celebrations of the year so far. I think it's unique. I think it's funny. I think it's clever. So I'm gonna give this one a gas.
Definitely looks like he's been like keeping that in his back pocket.
Yeah, he probably thought of that one for a while. Yeah,
he was waiting, but we didn't see it last week. So I mean, he went off the week before that.
Yeah.
For 55 fantasy points and
oh my god, yeah,
ton of touchdowns and yards. So
an incredible game.
So I mean, maybe he just knew it was going to happen again this week.
Yeah.
Next up, Curtis Samuel. He does a little jig here, so let's watch this.
Mm-hmm.
Second and 10.
And then we'll see what we think.
So he gets the ball, almost slides, but gets in the end zone. Hits a little jump, and he hits the dance. I like it.
And the roll.
I'm liking it, and the roll too. I'm liking it.
I like it a lot.
I like that one a lot.
Does a few feet kicks.
Yep, getting the crowd hype. I'm gonna give this one a gas.
Yeah, the roll really sells it. This is a gas.
Absolutely, I think the roll definitely does it. I've seen players have done that celebration, but I think he hit it. He got the crowd hype. He did the roll. I'm definitely. It was smooth. It was nice. Smooth. I'm giving it a gas. It was nice.
Agree with you. Next up, Elijah Moore does a little handshake with his teammates. Let's watch it.
Check it out. James out of the pocket, throwing deep, touchdown. Little Tony toe tap there.
So, puts his hands up, sitting, kind of looks like a little kid. He gets up. I don't know about this one. Like, if you look back, it kind of looks like, did they mess up the handshake the first time and then they had to redo it?
Maybe. It seems like they've had this one play. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I have it pulled back. I do see what you're saying when they maybe messed it up.
Yeah.
I think for them, they probably have had this handshake planned out for a little bit. Well, I mean, clearly, you don't just pull that one out of your ass. But
Judy and
yeah, but maybe it was cool for them. But as a fan who might want to see something flashy,
Yeah, it's kind of mid.
It's kind of mid.
And
not bad. It was a cool handshake.
It's not bad.
Cool. I like the little that they did at the end, but
yeah,
I think that saved it. But yeah, I'm gonna give this one an ass.
I'm gonna give this one an ass too. I think it's a little corny that he got up and kind of looked like a little toddler holding his hands.
You
up
didn't like that? I thought that was funny. Funny,
but is it gas? Like that's kind of what we're getting to. If you think that's good, then that's good.
I think you started off well. I don't know. I think
messing it up ruins it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it takes away the aura from it. But no, I'm gonna give this one an ass. I think I do kind of like when he threw up the hands though. But I think if he had a better celebration, it would have fit better. But
yeah,
I'm gonna go ass on this one.
Agreed. Let's get back into our fifth one of James Cook, and he rockets the ball into the stands. Let's watch this. So gets the hard-earned touchdown, right?
Ooh, the little sidearm there.
Little sidearm. Really rockets that. Gives him a little flex to his teammates. Not much to it, right? But
it's simple.
I don't know. Looked like he just kind of rocketed that into the stands.
Honestly, just for that sidearm rocket, I'm gonna give that gas, let alone, and then he hits the flex. People do that all the time where they throw it in the stands, but I don't think I've ever seen someone throw it with like the side of the arm with that much power, like you said, with a rocket. He breaks through for a couple of tackles there to put the Bills up against the Chiefs. Hits the flex with the teammates. I'm gonna give that one a gas. It might not seem as much, or it might not seem as flashy as other ones, but I like that. I'm gonna give that one. I'm gonna give that one a gas.
Yeah, he seems pumped in this clip. Like,
absolutely.
Everything about just like getting into the end zone, then flying that ball into the stands and just flexing on your teammates. Yeah. James Cook felt like he was on top of the world when he did that.
He absolutely did, to go up against the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs.
Absolutely.
He absolutely felt like the man when he did that, and that's probably where he got all the power when he was throwing it into the crowd. So, yeah, I'm definitely
giving them a gas too, for sure.
Yeah.
Last one, Anthony Richardson, late in the game to take the lead over the Jets. Yeah. That
bulldozes his way in.
Yeah. Spikes the ball down.
Yep.
Looks like he's gonna take off the helmet to the stands. I don't know if you guys saw that. At the end, he kind of just he's taunting the Jets fans who are leaning over the stands and just yelling in his face. If I got a nice back angle photo of Richardson looking at the fans screaming at his face, that would be tough.
That would be a really tough photo.
And for the sake of the Selly though, I don't know. This is hard.
This one, I'll break this one down for you real quick.
Okay, let's hear you break it down.
Fourth quarter, under a minute left. You're down 5. Anthony Richardson, who was benched for a couple games, comes back into the offense to an okay middle of the pack Colts, bulldozes his way into the end zone to put the Colts up to end up going winning the game. That's a gas. And you look at the fans, and you're taunting, and you're talking your mouth, you're talking to the fans, and you're letting them know, you know what I mean? You pull the straps down, you're letting them know, this is serious. I'm that guy. And also, screw Jets fans.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Jets. There's a lot of words I'd love to say about Jets fans. But anyways, he let them Jets fans hear it. That's aura, low-key. That's kind of some.
He's got a little aura
to go up in the final minute of the game. He get some aura there. Yeah, I'm gonna give that one a gas, just for taunting the Jets fans, let alone that one. That one's gas for me.
That's a big FU to the Jets fans, as well as also just the haters who thought Richardson was cooked.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe his coaches who said that he was sat for the rest of the year, then said, you know what, AR, you're our starter again. So I feel like that's a very emotional FU celebration to everyone.
It absolutely is. He probably felt like he was on top of the world. He was like, oh, I'm that guy.
Yeah.
This is, I hope the league sees this.
So, yeah, gas.
So, yeah, I'm giving that a gas as well.
Yeah.
On top of that, I think that's all we had for
that.
Yeah.
So we'll move into our final section of the day. I know, sad.
Yeah.
So, just like what we talked about in the beginning, how last time we did Fantasy Face-Off, this week we're just simply doing NFL predictions for who's going to win and lose. Mm-hmm. And we're going to keep a record of, who guessed more wins over the other person's, predictions.
Yeah.
So I'll let Connor start with his NFL predictions for next week, week 12.
Yeah. So going into week 12, the teams on the bye, Atlanta, Buffalo, Cincinnati, the Saints, the Jets, the Jags. So, that's a couple of teams right there. But let's go into the Thursday night game. Steelers, Browns, nice divisional matchup.
Yeah.
Who are you taking in that game?
You're asking me first? You're not going to say
I want to hear what you have to say first. Steelers or the Browns?
I got Steelers over Browns.
Yep.
You also?
I also have the Steelers over the Browns.
Okay.
I think the Browns, they've been pretty bad this season.
Oh yeah.
They've been pretty. I think they might give the Steelers a run for their money. The Steelers have also been a team I joked about last week about the Chiefs having black devil magic or whatever. I think a lot of people online have been saying the same thing about the Steelers, but I think the Steelers are a good legit team. I think they've got a lot of pieces. The defense is good. The offense is clicking.
They proved it this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not gonna lie.
Absolutely. And when they're going up against a team that's been struggling with the Browns, I think they're going to steamroll their way to a win on Thursday Night Football. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Steelers on that one. You as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go over to the Sunday. We'll start off. Nice divisional matchup. There's a lot of really good divisional games this week.
Oh yeah,
but
I agree.
Another really good one is Vikings versus Bears in Chicago.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
As much as I want Caleb Williams to have a redemption game against the team and get his win that he should have got last week that got blocked, like the field goal got blocked. I got Vikings over Bears.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Unfortunately.
I definitely take the Vikings. The Vikings, I think, are going to start collecting some wins.
Yeah,
again.
especially
the
here.
Bears they've got a really hard schedule. This is their first division game all season, and they still got to play the Lions twice. They're going to play the Vikings twice. They're going to play the Packers twice. Like, honestly, they might not win any of those.
Yeah.
They could pull off one or two, but they'd be lucky, I feel like, even to split those.
I agree.
For a team that's been not been good like Chicago, I think they'd be lucky to even split those.
Right.
So for that, I'm gonna go Minnesota. I'm gonna take Minnesota over Chicago. But moving on to our next one. Speaking of the NFC North, we're gonna go Detroit versus the Indianapolis Colts. So who do you got there?
I think this one's simple, and I'm sure you have the same answer as me, but I got the Lions.
I also have the Lions. Yep.
I don't think there's much to say there.
No, not much to say. I think the Lions have been really clicking. They blew out the Jags. They've been.
Yeah.
Not to say that the Lions don't beat good teams because they have, but the Lions have been really beating some bad teams this year. They've been blowing them out. And when you've got a team like the Colts who've been, all right, they haven't been great. I think this is a chance for the Lions offense to really put up a lot of points this game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely going Detroit.
I could actually see an upset here.
It could happen. The Colts aren't a terrible team. Like we were just talking about Anthony Richardson in our last.
Oh yeah, they were good.
Anthony Richardson can play really well if on certain given days. We've seen him make some really good plays. He could have a really good game against Detroit, but I'm not expecting that. But you never know. We'll see how that one goes. But our next game, we've got the New England Patriots at Miami. Now, New England has been known in many recent years to not have success in Miami. Their record has not been good in Miami, even going back into like 10 years. But I want to hear your take. Do you think they can pull off the upset this week, or do you think Miami easy takes this one?
This one's close. This one I actually struggled the most on. I had to go with my heart, and I think, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think the Pats are going to beat the Dolphins this week because I have the Pats, despite the not success in Miami each year, Drake May's improving every week. We're seeing wide receivers finally step up. The O-line looks palpable, good, surprisingly. Not great, but just okay. I don't know. I don't know. There's not much to it. It kind of is more of an inside feeling than a logical thing.
Yeah.
Maybe the logical thing is the Dolphins, but what do you have?
No, I agree with you. It might be more of a logical thing, but I think I'm also going to agree with you on the Patriots.
Oh, really?
Okay. I was actually very surprised you went to Miami. I thought you were going to take Miami. But no, I agree with you. I think actually New England could pull off this upset. I think it's going to be a really tight game. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I wouldn't expect much points. Drake May, like you said, has been incredible. I think Drake May can ball out like he's been doing the past couple of weeks.
Of course.
I think the defense can step up. You're going against a really tough matchup with Tyreek. You're going with Jalen Waddle. But you've also got Christian Gonzalez, who has been really good. And he's been he did it last season. He locked down Tyreek. He's been locking down receivers.
I could see it again.
I could absolutely see that again. And I think he's going to do it. I think he's absolutely going to lock them down. He's going to lock down whoever they put him on. I think he's going to lock down Waddle. He's going to lock down Hill. He did it last season, and he'll do it again this season. So I'm expecting it to be a very low-scoring game, but I low-key could see New England pulling off the upset. And although that might be a controversial take to most people because, again, like I said, New England does not have a good record when it comes to playing in Miami. But, things happen. It's any given Sunday in the NFL, things could happen, and I think this is a week that we see a surprise win with the Patriots taking down the Miami Dolphins. But
what's next?
Let's switch over. Let's go Tampa Bay versus the New York Giants.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
This one is interesting. Okay, so I have the Bucs over the Giants.
Yep.
Do you also have
I have the Bucs over the Giants as well. We've been taking some similar picks so far.
I mean, we got similar people here.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, Tampa Bay, although they've been hurt, they're still playing all right. They're still competing, but it's the Giants.
I don't think Tommy DeVito is going to beat the Bucs. So I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, Tommy DeVito's getting the start this week, like I mentioned really briefly earlier. Daniel Jones got benched. He's actually the third string now. He's not even going to maybe see the field at all.
Drew Lock is the second, I think.
Drew Lock is now the backup.
Yeah.
Tommy DeVito's going to go in, so I don't know.
I don't know what to make of that. Kind of feels like a mess, so that's why I'm going Bucs.
I don't know. I think Baker Mayfield's going to come in. He's going to cook up that pasta with Tommy DeVito, and I think he's going to take him down.
Agreed.
So yeah, I'm gonna go take Tampa Bay on this one easily. But switching over, we got I wouldn't say good because it's the Cowboys suck. But it's an interesting division game. We're gonna go Commanders versus Dallas. Who do you think in this one?
I got Commanders all day.
Commanders. I'm gonna go Commanders as well. But I think if Dak was in the picture still and they had a competent quarterback, I actually think it would have been really exciting. I actually maybe would have taken Dallas, but Cooper Rush is not him.
He's not him.
He's not been playing good when he goes in. Trey Lance, when Cooper got thrown in for the first game a couple weeks ago, I said, hey, put Trey Lance in. Trey Lance, I'm still going to agree with what I said, but I just think it's funny. They put Trey Lance in for one drive. Trey Lance throws the pick, and then they take him out immediately and put Cooper Rush in, which I don't know why you do that at that point. If you're already down so much.
It's embarrassing. It ruins confidence.
Embarrassing. Just it absolutely ruins your confidence. You're not giving him any chance to actually learn. Trey Lance is still really young. Trey Lance is, although he was drafted a couple years ago, he's still younger than some of the NFL quarterbacks that just got drafted in the last year or two. I think he's still younger than Anthony Richardson. And
that's crazy to think about.
It's, you know what I mean? He was the third overall pick in the draft. Why not give him a shot? Why not give him a shot? Dak is down. You've got nothing to lose at this point. Trey Lance could, be a guy. He's got a cheap contract right now because, people aren't giving him a chance. But who knows? I think they should give Trey Lance a chance.
Sure.
Hopefully this game.
Trey Lance a chance.
But again, I see the Commanders taking it. Jaden Daniels has been incredible.
Yep.
He's having a really good rookie campaign.
Of course.
The offense is clicking. The defense is clicking. It's gotten better since the trade deadline. I'm just going to go Commanders easily on this one. So, but let's move over to the next one. And this is a funny game I talked about last season.
Okay.
Or last week, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Chiefs Panthers. Now, here's the thing.
So does your idea still hold, Connor?
Here's the thing about that. My idea does not hold anymore. I think the dark magic run is over. I originally said if the Chiefs were going to beat the Bills, I would have taken the Panthers. I would have put some money on it, but because the Bills won,
it's over.
I think it's over. I think the Chiefs are back to earth. I think the run. Not to say that they're gonna, the
Linsanity run.
Yeah, the Linsanity run. No, the Chiefs are really good anyways. They were gonna lose, but I don't think the Panthers are gonna be the team that does it. Obviously, I don't think they're gonna lose back to back. I think the Chiefs are gonna come out mad, and I think they're gonna come out strong, and I think they're gonna come out fast against a terrible team like the Carolina Panthers. I'm gonna take a blowout win with Kansas City taking it over the Panthers. So
same here.
Yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, easily. You don't gotta go much further than that. Another good divisional matchup here. We got the Titans versus the Texans. So who do you got here?
I have the Texans again.
Texans, yeah, I think that's a safe answer. The Texans.
It's very safe.
They've been playing good. They got Nico Collins back. Stroud's playing all right. The Titans are still kind of bad. Yeah, I think the Texans are gonna go over here. It could be competitive. It's a divisional game. It could be some grit and grind, but we'll see. I think the Texans take this one though.
For sure.
Another divisional game we'll go here is Denver versus Las Vegas Raiders. So who do we got here?
Okay, I think this is where we actually might differ. I actually have the Raiders winning this
Really?
game.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. I want to hear your take on that.
honestly, I don't have a take on it. I genuinely believe that the Broncos can put up a bad game every here and there, and I think the Raiders can put up a good game every here and there.
Yeah.
Every now and then, I think is the term. But either way, there's not much to it. I think Bo Nix is playing, amazing right now, and I think he can still put up good numbers, and he has put up good numbers every game. But I don't know. This is more of a feeling, and also just a little bit of just like I didn't want to take the expected winner of every game.
Yeah, because it's not going to happen. We're going to get some wrong, but
yeah, I think this is going to be a very low scoring game this week. So Bo Nix fans, sorry, Broncos fans, sorry, but I got the Raiders this week.
That's funny. I'm actually going to go complete opposite on your take. I'm actually going to say the Broncos take this, and I actually think it could be a high-scoring game, potentially.
Wow, okay.
Although the Broncos, have a really good defense, I think Vegas, again, has a talent. Brock Bowers, but they also have Jacoby Myers. You give them the ball, they're going to make the plays. I think they can absolutely put up a couple good amount of points. But, again, I'm going to take the Broncos in this one. Going back to Bo Nix has actually been really good. We did not expect him to play this well as he has. He's been really good. He's in contention for Rookie of the Year right now. He's actually starting to give Jaden Daniels a run for his money. Jaden Daniels hasn't been too great. Not that he hasn't been great at all the past couple weeks, but I think Bo Nix is starting to overplay him in the past couple weeks. I think Bo Nix is starting to really rise up in the Rookie of the Year candidate. If you put their stats next to each other, they're kind of similar. Some categories Bo Nix is actually better in, but not to say that Jaden isn't. I think as of right now, Jaden is still Rookie of the Year. But Bo Nix is gonna, for the rest of the season, he's gonna give Jaden a run for his money. We'll see how the Commanders and Broncos play out. Right now, they're both in playoff position, so you never know. But I'm gonna take the Broncos in this one. I think Bo Nix can have an incredible game. I think he can put up a couple touchdowns.
Yeah,
he's got a couple pieces around him that can make some plays for him. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Broncos in this one.
Also, if you want a crazy anytime touchdown bet, take Bowers this week. I think. I think Jacoby will be on Surtain.
Yeah.
And I think that only limits, Minshew to Turner, Trey Tucker, and Bowers. And obviously, you have the bunch. Brock Bowers is that. favorite.
I think I would probably throw the ball
to.
I think out of those three, I'd probably would give the ball to Brock Bowers. I don't know. Maybe that's just a crazy take, but I'd probably give the ball to Brock Bowers to just, let him do his thing.
I would too.
But, so that's our first different one. Everything else has been similar, but, finally switching it up.
Yeah.
What do you think here? We actually got a pretty good game. We've got 49ers versus Packers, which I think could potentially be game of the week. So I'm curious to see what your pick is here.
That is a great game. I got the Packers. I got Packers over 49ers.
Okay. Yeah.
By that reaction, I think you have the 49ers.
I do have the 49ers here, but I do like the Packers pick. I think the Packers, could pull off a win here. But give me your insight on that. I want to hear yours first.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a again, pure just thought, right? There's no logical answer to this. I can see a Jordan Love legacy game here.
Ooh, okay.
Where Jaden Reed goes off for explosive numbers, and we finally see some Christian Watson magic, and maybe Dontavion Wicks gets some crazy 99-yard catch. I could see this being like a super aired ball game.
Yeah.
I kind of worded that weird.
No, I get what you're saying. It's a like a gunslinger game, I guess. Like it's,
right, yeah.
There's going to be a lot
of...
Yeah, it could be.
Just because I think, that defensive line for the 49ers is going to be rushing.
They're going to give Jordan Love they're going to make him run around.
So he's going to have to quickly get that ball up, but that also releases, these lanes for these wide receivers to, put up some crazy yardage. So I don't know. It's purely just an idea, a theory, but we'll see.
Yeah, I like that take. I think the Packers definitely could win. I'm going to take the 49ers, though. I think the 49ers are a great team.
Sure.
I think they're going to get healthy still. They're going to figure it out. They got an incredible team.
Oh, yeah.
There's not many games that I would have them as the underdogs in the season, if any. So I'm going to take the 49ers here.
Okay.
I think they've got a lot of explosive pieces, and I think CMC has kind of had a slow start. For what we expect from CMC, he's been all right. But I think this is the game where he kind of gets it going. I think he's going to figure it out, and I think he's going to have an explosive game. So
cool.
I don't know. We were doing the parlay videos, so you gave your take with the Bowers pick, Bowers touchdown. So I don't know. Maybe we'll have to throw in a McCaffrey
touchdown. That feels kind of automatic. I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe we'll come back to that. We'll have to,
We will be making a nice parlay this.
Yeah, we'll go.
Also, for the people watching this, you probably didn't see it because only 9 people viewed it. but our 3-leg parlay for the week hit. So I hope if you put money on it, I put money on it. Then you won some money. You doubled your money up. But we'll have another nice one this week.
Again, yeah, and to plug the social medias, go check out the Instagram, go check out the TikTok, go check out the videos. So we're posting content every day. Daily content every day. So go check that out on top of the podcast. But to get back into the picks, though, that was a quick plug. To get back into the picks, we got a good division game. We've got the Cardinals versus Seattle. Now, this isn't one that I think could be interesting. I wonder if we're gonna have different takes here, but let me hear yours.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I got Seahawks over Cardinals.
Okay, I actually have Arizona. So
interesting. So we got some. I think Seahawks are the better team. I think they proved it this past weekend.
Yeah.
With their win, I forget who they played. Not that the team mattered. I just know that Geno was balling, and Geno scored a last-minute touchdown. I forget. Was it the 49ers? It was the 49ers.
Yeah.
So they proved it against the 49ers.
Yeah, they ended up beating the Niners 20-17.
Yeah, I don't know. This one I could see going either way. I could see a Kyler Murray game where he goes off. But yeah.
That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting the Kyler game. I think Kyler can go off. I think Kyler is an incredible talent. As proven, he's an MVP candidate as of right now.
Of course.
I think he's going to have a really good game against Seattle. I think it's going to be tight.
Yep.
Not to say that Seattle isn't good. Seattle, on paper, probably is a better team right now. The Cardinals have their problems, but I think that, they're going in the right direction with the franchise.
Agreed.
They were in poverty for a couple of years, but I think right now they're starting to get the pieces together. They've got Kyler. They've got MHJ. James Conner is there. Trey Benson's there as well, so they've got some running back depth. They've got Trey McBride. They've got guys who can make plays. So I think we see a lot of that this coming week. I think it's actually a high-scoring game. I'm not sure what I would give it for, over/under. I'm not sure what the line is, but
probably will be.
I would say it's going to be a high-scoring game between them. I think Kyler's going to have a really good game. I think Geno's going to do his thing. I think Kenneth Walker's probably going to run the ball really well.
Yeah.
Seattle has guys who obviously can make plays: DK, JSN, Tyler Lockett, but I think on top of that, I think the Cardinals pull off the win here in a high-scoring but tight game.
Yep, I can see that for sure.
Yeah, so the next game is the Sunday night game. So we've got the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take the Eagles on this one. I think that's clearly a safe bet.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles are an incredible team with incredible talent around them. The Rams, are finding their groove now. They've gotten healthy. Stafford, Cooper's back. Nakua's back. They're getting the pieces back. They're getting the offense going. Kyron Williams has been playing really well. So I think they could give the Eagles a run for their money. But if you've got guys who make incredible plays, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley, that's a really hard offense to stop. And I'm just not sure if this Rams defense is going to be able to do that. So with that, I'm gonna take the Eagles. But I'd love to hear what you have.
Yeah, I mean, I also have the Eagles here, strictly just because of exactly what you said. I think even though this Rams offense is good, their defense, I mean, that you let up 22 points to Drake May. Not to say that's a bad thing, but this Pats team isn't necessarily good. And now you're up against an explosive offense who, is prominent for their point scoring.
Right.
I think this is another game that probably has a lot of points. That Eagles defense is decent. Yeah, but I could see this being a high-scoring game, but in the end, I think Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, those 4 key offensive players are going to do you miracles in this game.
Yeah. Absolutely, I agree with you. Yeah, so we'll both take the Eagles there.
Of course.
But, the Monday night game, we've got the Harbaugh Bowl. We've got the Ravens versus the Chargers. So which Harbaugh brother is better?
I don't. Last week I talked about how the Ravens were a good team, and I think their record doesn't, do them justice.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm starting to come to this idea that maybe they're not, and maybe Lamar's kind of carrying them a little bit. But in the end, I still have the Ravens over the Chargers.
Yeah.
Do you have that too?
I have that too. Again, like
close.
we talked about earlier, Derrick Henry's an incredible running back. I think Derrick Henry can run over anyone, and I think he's going to put up
literally everyone.
Nearly a touchdown a game. It's super hard to tackle him. The Chargers have some good pieces on the defense, but this just seems like it seems like a high. I've said this a couple times. This seems like a high scoring game to me. It's two really good offenses. The Chargers' offense is starting to really click. Justin Herbert. We know what we have with Herbert. He's really good. Quentin Johnson has been stepping up after having an okay rookie year. He had a lot of doubters. People saying, he hit Butterfingers. He couldn't catch the ball. That did happen a couple times last season. But I think he stepped up in the offense into a bigger role than people expected. Lad McConkey's been really good so far in his rookie year. J.K. Dobbins has been the comeback player of the year, in my opinion, after coming back from so many injuries and playing to the level that he is right now. Statistically one of the NFL's best running backs. Yeah, J.K. Dobbins is him.
He's up there.
The Chargers have a really good offense. I think they're going to put up points on the Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to put up points on the Chargers. But in the end, I think I'm going to take the Ravens on this one in the Harbaugh Bowl. But
yeah, me too. I think the best way to look at it is how last week the Ravens lost to the Steelers. This Steelers and this Chargers defense is very similar in the way that they can shut down explosive offenses. But I think the Ravens played particularly a pretty bad offensive game last game. Yeah. So I think they cracked 20 points. I think they're probably hovering around 24 points, probably a couple touchdowns, throws. Yeah. Derrick Henry probably gets in for one.
Yeah.
This Chargers team probably doesn't let up more than that because they are a really good defense. And then it just comes down to, does Justin Herbert, keep up with Lamar Jackson's play? And I don't know. I think this game feels kind of middle of the pack. I think we're probably going to see like a 24-21 or a 24-17 score game.
Yeah.
I think it'll be somewhere around that range. I'm actually like 99% sure that's exactly how it's going to come out.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a really good high-scoring game between those two offenses. Two explosive offenses, but I don't know. We'll see. Again, you've got the Ravens, I've got the Ravens, but I want to go really quickly. So I think we agreed on most of the things, but I want to go back and highlight some of the things that we disagreed on.
Yep.
The first one being Denver versus Raiders, so that's something we want to look at. I had Denver, you had Las Vegas. That could be a fun one. 49ers, Packers. That was different. I took the 49ers, you took the Packers. I took the Cardinals, you took the Seahawks. So I think that's the three games that we only disagreed on.
There's one more.
Was there one more?
I thought there was. There might not have been, though.
Steelers, Vikings, Lions, New England, Tampa, Commanders, Chiefs, Texans, Eagles, Ravens.
Oh, yeah. No, maybe everything was the same.
I think those are the only three that we disagreed on, but that's, again, we'll have to go back and look at that at the end of the season. Not end of the season, the end of the week, and see who had the better predictions there. But it should be tight. I think there's some really good games in there that we'll have this week, but
we'll have to see.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. But
yeah, but overall, that's what we got for this episode. Today was actually a long one. I thought it was going to be shorter today because we had less topics, but clearly we had a lot to talk about.
We did. Yeah.
So, if you enjoyed this episode, once again, leave a like, leave a subscription, leave a comment, share to your friends. Tell everybody about Inside the Trailer.
Yeah.
Tell them about our sports coverage, our games, our parlays, and more. Lately we've been pulling a little bit more views, so we're on the up and up. So, tell everybody you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Let everyone know.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So, but if you enjoyed the video, hopefully we'll see you in another one. We'll have another one next week, week 3, episode 3. So yeah, we hope to see you there, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, see ya.